Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel here. So today I'm starting a new series and this is going to be something that I think is going to be a lot of fun to do. It's going to be insightful for anyone that's wanting to do a build, maybe give them some options in terms of things to look at for building a computer, and I'm going to get right into it. The build that I'm doing today is a Amazon $600 build. Now, this will be a mid-range PC that will be able to run anything at ultra graphics at HD, and also it will also be able to run most games at high at 2K at QHD. So I'm pretty excited to get into it. It's not going to waste too much time with the intro. So of course, this is just a theoretical PC. I'm not actually going to be building this. This is just something to consider building if you have $600. So going to get right into it with the CPU that I've already got up here. And the CPU that I'm going for is the Ryzen 5 5500. Now, the reason I'm going for this is it's a good CPU, firstly. It's not cheap, but it's not expensive. It's a 6-core 12-thread CPU. And another thing is it comes with a decent cooler. Now, you could go for the 5600, and what I've got in my system is the 5700X, which is really good, but you know, when you're just going to be using this for gaming, and this is a gaming build, you really don't need much more than the 5500. The Intel equivalent is maybe something like the 12400, something like that. So that's what I'm going for the CPU. It's a really good CPU. It's got a big enough cache, L3 cache, and it's rated very well, as you can see, 4.7 out of 5. And when it comes to gaming, this is really all you need. So yeah, there's not too much to say about it. It's a really good gaming CPU. My friend has it. He's told me that it works really well for him. So if you're not going to get into content creation or streaming too much, then the CPU will do just fine. Next up, we have the motherboard, and I'm going for the Asus Prime B450M A-A2. Now, this is a pretty good motherboard. It's pretty standard, but Asus do make really good motherboards. I know they're in a little bit of hot water right now, but I don't get too much into that stuff. If it's a good motherboard, it's a good motherboard. And the thing with this is it's $80, which is not bad, but it does have 4 DIMM slots, as you can see there. And it's only got the one PCI slot for the graphics card, but you know, these days no one really uses SLI or Crossfire anymore. It's also only got one NVMe slot, but I think it's fine. This is something that you would usually use in like a media PC build, like a gaming build, like a console type of build. But I think it's pretty good. I think it's going to work well, and it looks quite nice as well. It's got those silver accents with the black PCB, and then it's got those silver heat spreaders on top as well. So not a bad looking motherboard. It's got a few lights as well with the Aura Sync, and you know, not the best I/O, only 6 USBs, but that's okay. It's not too bad. You'll have a few at the front as well. So that's it for the motherboard. We are at $91 and $78 for these so far. So with that said, let's move on to the RAM. Gonna be going with the Patriot Viper Steel RGB 16 gig. So this is gonna be two 8 gig sticks, and these are RGB. They look really nice, and they are rated at 3200 megahertz. So it's pretty quick. And I think it's CL16, which is not bad. So yeah, it's not much to say about the RAM. For now, it's only 2 sticks, but this motherboard does have 4 DIMM slots, so you can always upgrade to 32 gigs if you want. But with a CPU like the 5500, it's really not necessary. It's only going to be for gaming. 16 gigs is fine for gaming. So not too much to say about the RAM. This is going to look good in that system. So that's it for the RAM. Now for the big one. We are going to be going with the RX 6600. Now, this card is really good for mid-range gaming. For HD, it's going to work really well. for 2K. It's going to work pretty well, and this is just one of those really good value cards. It's one of those cards that you really can't go wrong with, and it's not extremely expensive. You can get this for $200 on Amazon. Now, if you get lucky and you find a sale, the XT version of this card is really nice. It's got a little bit of extra performance, and this is an 8 gig card. I know these days people say that you need more than 8 gigs, but when you're just gaming at HD, it's really not necessary. And when you're doing mid-range gaming, I don't think it's necessary. So it's a pretty good card. As you can see, it's a beauty as well. These XFX cards are so nice looking. They have this industrial look, sort of like Asus Tough Gaming. It's like a similar look, and it just looks so nice. It's like this black and silver look, and it's just, wow. They make such nice looking cards, and I think it's going to look really good in this build. Okay, moving on to the storage. We have the Samsung 980 NVMe 1TB. Not too much to say about this. This is a pretty good drive. It's got some really good speeds. We're not going to put an HDD in this PC. We're just going to have this NVMe drive. But I think for like a console equivalent build, this is really all you need. 1 terabyte is enough for games. It's easy. You just install Steam, load up Big Picture, get your controller going, and everything is in one place. It's really easy. It's a really fast drive, and I think you'll be happy with it. And this is a pretty good price as well, $40. Moving on to the power supply. Now, this is where you can really start to make a few choices. I recommend this one because of the price. It is a 600 watt. It is a gold rated power supply, and these Thermaltake units aren't the best, but for a build like this, like a low wattage build, it's going to be pretty good. These ones are rated really well, and Thermaltake have been around for a really long time, since I was a kid, and since I was gaming, they've always made power supplies and cases. So not much to complain about with it. When building a PC like this, you do want a reliable power supply with a good warranty, because if something goes wrong, you need to know that you're protected, and you need to know that the power supply will die, but the rest of your components won't. That's very important. So yeah, that's why I would recommend something like this. But for the same price point, there's a lot of power supplies you can get. I recommend Antec. Corsair is a little bit more expensive, but they make really good power supplies. And just all the standard ones. Deep Cool is a little bit expensive, but they make good ones. And now there's so many of these new brands that I don't really know too much about, but if it's 80 plus rated, you should be okay. Just make sure that there's a few reviews. Moving on to the last part of the build here, and this is actually the case that I physically bought and used in the previous video that I did yesterday, and this case is amazing. It comes with 6 fans, it's got a tempered glass panel, it's got the mesh front, as you can see, and it just works so well. It's got this little basement here for your power supply, and it's just a really good case. Now, it does have these breakout pins. That's not the best, but it comes with like replacement pins. Like I think there's like 3 or 4 of them, or maybe 2, I don't remember, but it has a few of them. So if you break out the graphics card and then you get a bigger graphics card or something, you won't feel too bad breaking out more of them, because you can replace those later. These are actually the speakers that I have as well. Oh, it looks like my screen as well. Oh wow, this is my PC. So yeah, I can really recommend this. Now, you can see at the back here, the cable management isn't the best, because it's got just like this big gap, and they don't show it here, but the fans are Molex. So in the middle there, it's like this whole clunk of Molexes, so it's a little bit difficult, but it's not the end of the world. You kind of just like squeeze it into the back panel there, so it is what it is. But it's a case that I'm really happy with, and it's actually really cool. This picture doesn't actually lie. The air that comes out of it is really cool. So yeah, it's got a pretty good rating as well. Yeah, so those are the components that I've selected. It's gonna be just right around $600, and it's gonna be a really good PC. In a moment, I'll show you the spreadsheet that I made for the pricing, and then after that I'll show you some estimates for performance. Now again, I'm not actually building and using this PC. This is just sort of like an estimate build, sort of just like a build guide. But I'm pretty excited to see what the performance would be like. So I'm going to show you a few theoretical reviews, benchmarks. So I'm pretty excited to get into that. So this is the PC that I chose. Let's get into the spreadsheet and then let's get into the benchmarks. Stay with me. Okay, hello again. Here we have the spreadsheet that I made for the $600 Amazon gaming PC. And the way that I laid it out is you have the categories at the top, and then you have descriptions at the sides. So as you know, we went with the Ryzen 5500. It cost $91. The Asus Prime B450M A2 Patriot, which is $80. Patriot Viper Steel 16 gigs DDR4, $48. The XFX Speedster Swift 6600 RX, $200. We went for the 1TB NVMe 990 Samsung, $41. We don't have a hard drive, so that's $0. The Thermaltake 600 watt 80 plus unit, $70. The raidmax X921 Meshian, $70. And we don't, because the raidmax comes with fans, we don't need to order any extra fans or like cable management units or anything. So there's none on the extras. And then the total, $600. So it's worked out to be exactly $600. I did round up, so it's maybe like $598 or something like that, but it's basically $600. Now, of course, this doesn't include your shipping or anything like that. These are just the base prices. But of course, you wouldn't include that in a list like this. This is just looking at the actual units and the actual prices for them. So this is the PC I recommend for a $600 mid-range gaming PC. Came out to exactly $600, and this will play games really nicely. So with that said, let's get into the theoretical benchmarks, and you can see how the PC would actually perform. Let's do it. Okay, so here we have the benchmarking. So what I've done is I've found a YouTuber that had these exact components and that actually ran tests with them, and I've just copied screenshots from that, and we're taking a look at those shots. So the first game we're looking at with these exact components is going to be CSGO. So CSGO is looking at an average FPS of 338. Now, obviously, that's really good. This is running at 1080p low. Now, of course, people run esports games at low. I don't really get it too much because I don't play esports games that much. But yeah, still, it's a really good result. And I think even if you ran it at high, it would still be above like around the 300 mark. So, really good result for CSGO. Then we're looking at Red Dead Redemption 2. And for this one, we have an average of 71, which is really good as well, because this is running at Ultra. So this game is a little bit more demanding, but I think it's a really good result so far. And yeah, it's definitely more than playable at HD. Moving on to Elden Ring. This has that 60 cap, and this has reached that cap. So the average is on that 60 cap. Doing really well as well. Next one, we have Far Cry 6. This is running at Ultra 1080p, and this has an average of 83 frames per second, which is amazing for a really demanding Far Cry game. Definitely very smooth experience. Okay, Fortnite, again, low competitive settings, and the average is 248, which is really good as well. Nothing to complain about there. If you have a high resolution screen, this is going to run perfectly. Then we have Forza, 1080p Ultra, average of 103. Very good experience, very playable. Definitely no complaints there. You could probably push this to 4K and still get about 60 FPS. God of War, no FSR, 1080p Ultra, average of 73 FPS. Same with Forza, very good experience. Push this to 2K, even 4K, and it'll still be very playable. GTA 5, average 126 frames. It's very good as well. Very high settings, a little bit of anti-aliasing, and running at 1080p as well. So anything above 100 is really good for GTA as well. Last one here, Rainbow Six Siege, 1080p low because it's a competitive game, FXAA anti-aliasing, and an average of 288. So if it were me, I would just push these settings to maximum. I get that people want to squeeze every little bit of FPS out of their games, but I don't care about that too much. I think having a game look good is just as important as how it plays. But I do understand that people play competitively and I don't. But besides that, 288 frames is really good. So that's what you can expect from this Amazon PC. I think it's going to be a really solid choice if you are someone that it has $600 saved up and you want to buy a nice PC. I think this would be a worthy competitor to anything else you might have planned. Now, of course, you can do an Intel version of this, you can do an NVIDIA version of this, you can do an Intel graphics version of this. There's a lot of options at the moment, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing, and I think that for the first time in a while, gamers have a lot of choices. So make sure that you look at other build guides as well before making your choice, but I can definitely recommend this. AMD have been very solid lately, and you really can't go wrong with them. Now this is of course an all new parts kind of list. If you go for all of these parts second hand, you'll pay probably about $400, maybe even less. So yeah, this is what I would recommend. I hope you enjoyed looking at my recommendation, at my spreadsheet, and I hope you agree. If you don't, let me know what you would do differently, and thanks for watching, thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.